there was a story about a lady who used to live alone. And she had a brother named Naim. Her brother Naim lived a few doors down. And he would come by her house and he would repair things for her and, keep her company once in a while. And one day she was in her bedroom and all of a sudden she hears a burglar break through her window. So she hears the window just broke. Somebody just broke in. She realizes that it's clearly not her brother. Must be somebody's trying to rob her. She gets very nervous and she's about to panic, and then she takes a deep breath and she realizes, if I'm going to panic and if I'm going to scream, he's going to find me, he's going to kill me. So she realizes she has to somehow strategize a plan where she could maybe even trick the robber. So she thinks to herself, and all of a sudden she comes up with a plan. She opens the door and she screams out, "Oh, I'm not planning to give the poor food right now or money, but you know what? I'm going to give you anyways." So the robber hears this. He realizes somebody's in the house. He says, "You know what? That's good. She's going to go get me food. I'm going to have something to eat. And then she's going to give me some money on the way to go. And I'm going to follow her, figure out where she keeps her money in her safe. And once I find out where she keeps her money, I'm going to take the rest of her jewelry and the rest of her money. I'll be able to rob the rest of her belongings." So he got excited and he's like, "Okay, thank you." He pretended to play along with it. So she quickly went and she made him some scrambled eggs, and she went and she serves it to him, and now he's sitting there eating. So she says to him, "Let me ask you something." She sits right next to him. She rests her chin on her palm and she looks at him and she says, "So are you married?" He says, "No, I'm not married." She says, "Why aren't you married?" He says, "I'm not married because I don't have enough money. I can't support my family." She says, "Oh, that's unfortunate, but I have money. Well, what if we got married? Would you be willing to marry me?" He says, this is too good to be true. I came here to rob her belongings. I'm going to get food here. I'm going to get her money. And I'm going to get a girl. I'm going to get married as well. This is too good to be true. Can't believe what he's hearing. So he says to her, I guess, yeah. I would be interested in marrying you." She says, that's great. So then she tells him, "But let me ask you something. What if we get married and we're going to have a child?" He says, "Well, that's great news." She says, "Yeah, but what if that child gets sick? What are you going to do then? And let's say if he dies, what's going to be your reaction?" He says, "I don't know what's going to be my reaction. I guess I'm going to be very sad." So, "But can you show me how sad you're going to be if our son dies?" She says, "I don't know." She says, "Well, I don't know. Show me." He says, "I don't know." So he says to her, "Well, what's our son's name?" She says, "Well, I like the name Naim. That's my favorite name. So can you pretend like our son died and now you're crying over Naim?" He says, "Okay, I guess I'm going to cry over Naim." So he goes, "Naim, Naim." So he's all confused over here, doesn't understand what's going on. And then she says, "You know what I would have done if my son died? If my son Naim died, I would have been screaming, 'Naim! Naim!'" She starts screaming, "Naim!" All of a sudden, her brother from a few doors down hears, quickly comes into the house, sees the burglar, knocks him over the head. The burglar falls down to the floor. Then they report him. The police come and they arrest him. And they turn to the lady and they turn to the brother. They say, "What just happened?" They explain the story. "Listen, I heard the burglar. He came in. I was about to get nervous. I was about to panic. But instead of panicking, I just took control of the situation instead of allowing the situation to take control of me. And so what I did was I tricked him. And so I had to find a way where I'm going to get my brother to come here and help me. But how am I going to do that?" So I had it all planned out that I'm going to scream Naim and he's not going to think too much into it. And then eventually my brother came and he saved the day. The chief told this lady, "We were looking for this robber for many years. We had wanted signs of him all over the place. We couldn't find him. But because you stayed calm, cool, and collected, you were able to help us put an end to this trouble. And we were able to finally catch him, and now we're going to send him to prison, and he's not going to be able to rob anybody else." The lesson of the story is that in life, we could either panic, and we could become upset and frustrated and aggravated, or we could take control of the situation and just stop and think, what do I gain from getting upset? What do I gain from throwing a tantrum or getting scared? Instead, I'm going to adjust to the situation. I'm going to be a problem solver. And I'm going to ask myself, what can I do right now to make the most out of the situation and then go around it? It's a very important key to life, to stop and think, what am I going to do now? So this is what happened. What now? Am I going to allow the situation to get the best of me, or am I going to take over the situation and take control over it? Think about that. Next time you end up in a very difficult situation, next time you're panicking, next time you get scared, instead of getting upset or getting too frustrated and flustered, rather think into it and see what you could do to problem solve.